Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner hold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets while working for Donald Trump's administration. A 54-page report on the financial situation of Mr. Kushner, which include most of Ms. Trump's assets and income, shows scores of six- and seven-figure sums. The documents were part of financial disclosures of about 180 senior officials at the White House, which were released on Friday night. According to the Associated Press, Ms. Trump and Mr. Kushner, the President Trump's son-in-law, but also his senior advisor, are reported to have at least $240 million in assets. But the New York Times reports that the couple remain the beneficiaries of their business empire, still worth as much as $740 million. The forms also show President Trump, a billionaire and business tycoon, has surrounded himself with some of the wealthiest people ever to join a presidential administration. Ms. Trump and Mr. Kushner resigned from all of their business activities and sold off 58 assets upon taking on jobs at the White House, but they held on to much of their sprawling global and real estate-focused empire. Mr. Kushner reportedly held executive positions with 266 limited companies, corporations, and non-profit groups, which he had to resign from since January. This week, Ms. Trump officially moved into the West Wing of the White House and is expected to become a government employee. She will maintain a stake, valued between $5 million and $25 million, in the Trump International Hotel in Washington, the New York Times reports. According to Mr. Kushner's financial disclosures, Ms. Trump earned between $1 million and $5 million from the hotel between January 2016 and March 2017. The hotel, which is just a few blocks from the White House, has raised concerns that foreign governments or special interests groups could stay there in order to gain political favors from the Trump administration. Mr. Trump has faced questions about conflicts of interest regarding his hotel and golf course businesses since his election. He has handed off control to his two oldest sons, but ethics watchdogs have complained that the arrangements do not go far enough to avoid conflicts, and they have urged Mr. Trump to divest fully or set up a blind trust for his assets. The documents show Mr. Kushner began selling off the most problematic pieces of his portfolio shortly after Mr. Trump won the election, and some of those business deals are not required to be disclosed in the forms. The president's senior advisor has reportedly organized much of his holdings into trusts for which he is the primary beneficiary, according to AP. The financial disclosures released by the White House also show Mr. Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, disclosed assets between $13 million and $56 million, including his influential political consultancy, Bannon Strategic Advisors Incorporated, which is worth as much as $25 million. Bannon also disclosed that he earned slightly less than $200,000 last year as executive director of Breitbart News Network LLC before he resigned to join Mr. Trump's campaign last August. Before being appointed counselor to President Trump, Kellyanne Conway was worth as much as $40 million from her investments and income from her personal political consulting firm. Most of Ms. Conway's assets, more than $31 million, are held in cash or money market accounts, likely because she had to sell most of her investments before taking a job in the White House. She has shares in the tobacco industry, including Altria and Philip Morris, but also in drug giant Pfizer and snack food companies Kraft Heinz and Mondelez. Gary Cohn, who left Goldman Sachs to become director of Trump's National Economic Council, is one of the wealthiest members of the Trump administration. His financial disclosure shows he received at least $40 million in income from Goldman Sachs-related dividends, interest, salary and bonuses, about half of which was in some form of stock compensation. He also reported more than $1 million in income from the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, which the White House has said he is in the process of divesting along with his Goldman holdings. President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence are not legally required to file new financial disclosures until next year.